You've got religion weaponized. The other day, because on prayer meeting, and you had thousands, hundreds of thousands responding. But ask them to protest for one day against the evils that have befallen all of us. Lie, they are nowhere to be found. Religion has been weaponized. You see all manner of fraudsters. That was how I saw one the other day. Say when there is going to be a plane crash, God forbid, you should brace yourself and then you should begin to speak in tongue. Imagine where you and these are the kind of persons sat behind pulpits, and you have thousands sat in front of them. How do you change a society with persons under the ministrations of such charlatans? So Nigeria has actually passed the point of when enough is enough. When you look to what are already in place, the multiple factors of implosion that has been built into the system, and then you take away the people's capacity to peacefully enforce a change of government in the hope that a change of government might lead to a change in this governance system, that does not work for the victims of Nigeria. What you do is that you render violence inevitable at some point, because the first thing you must understand is that the human spirit reflexively rejects injustice. And this is an unjust proposition, to take away from victims the capacity to peacefully, through the ballot, change their situation. When you take the totality of the madness that has overtaken us, the rise of Niger Delta militants, now repentant, whilst the social conditions of the people themselves, the abject poverty, the degradation of the environment continues, what you find is that you are merely postponing the evil day, because those who have been disadvantaged, who have now also been denied the capacity to effect change peacefully, whilst you are empowering persons who have profited of their grievances, you are engendering violence in the future, because those victims will still rise. Get it clear. You look to the north of Nigeria and you see the normalization of madness, such as we are witnessing in Katsina, where bandits, who are in reality terrorists, are mollycoddled by the state, freed from prisons, released from prosecution, bargained with, they are collecting taxes, state is voting money in settlement of these persons, and the victims are offered no relief. You will know that at some point, this obscene abnormality, which is not sustainable, is going to come home to bite us at some point, because it's not like you have a ring fence around Katsina. It simply means that Katsina has become a safe zone for terrorists, known to the system, accepted by the system, paid by the system, mollycoddled by the system, and the tragedy is that it is not restricted to Katsina State. There are other states where the information is not as readily available in the public space as it has become in Katsina. The reality is that vast swathes of Nigeria, this country, have normalized madness. I believe it was in Kebbi that the governor was demanding to know who ordered the redeployment of the soldiers who were guarding the place that was eventually attacked and people taken hostage. That is the level of compromise. So when you look at this country, when you see the rise of terrorist Islamists. You see the rise of Fulani terrorists moving across the country with impunity. You see the state celebrating nothing, pointing at 30 governors have moved. No governance of any sort is going on. The Minister of Health said only 36 million was released of last year's budget. We have 3 successive budgets, I'm told, unimplemented. But the system continues to trumpet success. My dear brothers and sisters, the same country where terrorists who have murdered law enforcement agents, yes, they don't enforce laws, they administer impunity, but he was executed. An assistant commissioner of police, and a terrorist will wear his uniform and come for what they call peace and reconciliation meetings, where the state had been ordered not to bring any law enforcement agent in uniform. And a terrorist, the same one who murdered an assistant commissioner of police, wore the uniform. And Nnamdi Kanu is in prison. And there are multiple persons in prison in this country for much less. Nigeria is beyond enough being enough. It is beyond enough being enough. But my purpose this morning is not to lament. It is to tell you that it is time to begin to organize yourselves. Across the length and breadth of Nigeria, begin to organize yourselves. This system has to be confronted, but it must be done peacefully. And I would explain. I'm not so romantic as to believe that because we are peaceful, the state would be peaceful. It has never been in the nature of the Nigerian state to be peaceful. It has always met every demand for change with violence. I should know. I was one of those who had to deal with the aftermath of what it did at Lekki Tollgate. And the persons at Lekki Tollgate bore no harms. All they had were flags. So I'm not unaware of the fact that however peaceful we may elect to try to make it, the Nigerian state would make it violent. I have no doubt about that. But that should not be the reason why we will refuse to act. At some point, we have to move beyond rhetoric. At some point, we need to have some skin in the game. And what is the skin in the game? The commitment to change. That is the first thing I need you to embrace. The commitment to change, to doing things in a different way, to finding another path, a different path to a better Nigeria, one where there is room for all of us, not the one where we're living in now, where we're barely existing while some people are feeding fat of the land. I am working with others, and we are trying to build structures, at least the technical structures. I know we talked about ICE. I am still waiting on others to do their own end. I've always confessed my inability when it comes to technical know-how. But quietly now, I'm working with a few others. But long before then, please, I ask of you, embrace the idea that we are capable of much better than this. Understand the urgency of now and the fact that enough is already enough. To be lamenting and expecting and hoping that this system will change anything is a lie. A few days ago, as I was seeking to clarify my topic today. I came across a video by a young gentleman, Ovie, and he was attacking the what he found to perhaps be the snail speed with which my generation has moved in the direction of change. And I asked him, what would you have me do? What can we do differently? He has a whole lot of ideas waiting for him. There are others as well who have recognized the need to act, to move beyond talking. And I'm also working with them. Excellent young men and women across the length and breadth of Nigeria and in the diaspora. And what we are seeking to do is to build platforms that allows you to meet at the state level and then at your local government level. But not just meet to lament, meet to educate yourselves, meet to discuss a different pathway for Nigeria. Protests do not always take place on the road. Sometimes protests take place, begins in your home. We would seek to equip ourselves to educate each other about the kind of change we desire for Nigeria and about how we propose to bring these changes about in a non-violent manner. The uneducated mob is just a mob. Educate the mob, it becomes an army. I need you educated. And I'm not speaking to you who is able to sit down and listen to me on YouTube or some other channel. I'm speaking to the you in the villages, in the mechanic workshops, in the barber shop. That is the level of sensitization that has to be undertaken in order to defeat this system. We are not interested in knee-jerk reactions. We are looking to build an army of conscious persons who are not only willing to vote, but are willing to stand behind their vote in defense of their vision for the future, a better future. It is not beyond our capacity as human beings to imagine a better Nigeria for ourselves and for our children. If it doesn't happen in our lifetimes, if those ideas have to be watered with the blood of the martyrs for the cause, that is fine. But let the future know that there were thinkers in this generation who saw a better future, committed themselves to it, wrote it down, who made it plain that those who read might run with it. We will be looking to ensure that this happens within the next week. Now, let me explain. That we've tried once and failed does not mean we should stop trying. If you believe you have the capacity to build the kind of platforms that can carry the kind of things that I'm talking about, feel free to tap me up online. We'll reach out to you as well. The more expertise we have, the merrier. The important thing is this. It's an idea that does not have to be executed by me. If it is visionary, you must live beyond the visionary. The reality is that some of you will never speak with me personally, might hear what I'm saying this morning, might be 10 years from now. Run with it. Votrons are not going to save Nigeria. It will be the victims of Nigeria that will save Nigeria. And if you want the victims of Nigeria to save Nigeria, you would have to educate them in order to build bridges over the many divisions that Nigeria has contrived.